Wanneer is al die checks nou reg? Okay guys, so here we are going live now. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Aqua Live Streaming Expo. With me today is Willie Palm, who is one of our sales consultants. Willie, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Sure, thanks for the nice introduction. Guys, welcome to our studio, our Aqualive Streaming Expo studio. We have spoken last week that we are going live. Last week we had a lot of glitches on Facebook and on YouTube. This week we have sorted everything out. Charles, you are currently live on Facebook, you are live on Zoom as well as on YouTube. So
That's lovely.
this is over to you. Guys, thanks a lot for attending this expo.
Yes, thank you. So we believe that we will be getting a lot of viewers currently on Zoom, on the live stream as well. But you're always welcome to go afterwards as well and go and have a re-look if there's something you missed. We are going to have a look at the Aquadam today, and that is what I want to present you. So without any further ado, Willie, let's have a look at the presentation.
Guys, sit back, enjoy, and I hope you learn a lot. Charles, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, there you go. Welcome. As you can see in the background, that is the Aquadam. This is something that we are very proud of at Aquadam, and I'm very excited to tell you all about this. We are going to have a Q&A session afterwards, so really if there's any questions afterwards, we can deal with that. We are going to have questions on the chat as well, so please feel free to have your questions on the chat and we will deal with those as well.
Yes, sorry, Charles, I'd just like to interrupt you
Yes.
there. We have Rudy Boshoff on the outside, also one of our sales team members that is active on the chat on Zoom. Myself live, as we are doing everything here, I'm live on Facebook as well. So if there's any questions on Facebook, please, if any remarks, leave it there. And Charles, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So Who is Aquadam? Willie, you happen to work at Aquadam, is that right?
Sure, yes, I have been here for a couple of years.
Actually, quite a number of years. But let's see if we can tell the audience about this company. This company, Aquadam, has been established in 1992. So we have quite a long history of doing what we do. So by this time, we are doing an exceptional job. So the reason for that is that our core value is integrity. That is integrity of the people, integrity of the products, and integrity of the processes that we do follow. Up until now, this company has built and installed 8,400 tanks all over South Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa, and that number is growing on a monthly basis. So watch that space, because that certainly is going to grow, and we will add a number of agridomes to that number as well. The company is innovative, it is adaptable, and that is why the company is growing from strength to strength. But let's have a look at the current products that we already do, just touch on that, and then we will go into the detail of the agridome itself. So the product that Willie is very well versed in is the Smart Tank Extreme. This tank goes from 13,000 litres, which is very small, all the way to 3.2 million litres. Guys, that is something to see. I would really like you to see that tank. And Willie, at some point, I would like to have everybody in this audience to join you as well when you do the Smart Tank Extreme presentation.
100% sure.
We also have on the total opposite side of the spectrum, we have the Home Tank, which is a rainwater salvaging tank, rainwater storage tank. We have the Fire Tank, that's for everybody in the fire industry. Then we have the process water tanks, that is the Rhino tank, the fusion bonded epoxy coated tank. Of course, today it's all about the agridome. We're going to touch on a few things. So first of all, we're going to look at issues that is existent in the agribusiness. Specifications of the dome, we'll look at that. We'll look at a few examples, because I always like to look and feel at something. I like to see what I'm about to buy. I like to see not only the specifications, I want to have a look at it, and that's what we're going to do. We will look at the features and the benefits for you. We will discuss all the options that's available, a number of those. Then applications, current applications, new applications. Then after we conclude it, we're going to go into the question and answer session, as we mentioned before. So the common issues that all agri-businesses face. First of all, the guys sit with low animal production, and that is normally due to stress. So that whenever an animal will go into a stress situation, it doesn't calve, it doesn't produce. Another big issue, especially in an economy that is not growing, is livestock theft. So we need to look at something that will assist the farmers to protect their animals. High maintenance cost. All your infrastructure has got a very big cost factor. So we are looking for something in an ideal world that's not going to cost that much, that's not going to cost an arm and a leg to maintain. Steel structures are just expensive. The bigger they become, the more expensive they are. So you need something that is really cost effective, and that is something that the agridome will also address. High livestock mortality. Normally, the livestock mortality is because the animals are out in the field, they are not accessible. So you want your animals in a place where they are accessible, where there's enough space in order to be able to give them assistance when they do need it. The African weather conditions, it is a very interesting place to live. It's a tough place to live in. You have hailstorms, you have thunderstorms, and you have severe droughts. All of those are very hard on your animals, and we need something that can actually curb all of those issues and give you a solution.
Sure, sorry, I would just like to ask you a question before you move on to your next slide.
Yes.
This is all very valuable information, but will this increase my animal production, whether it's for cattle, whether it's for milk production or sheep or anything? Will this product increase my production?
It certainly would, and the main reason is that your animal will be calm, the animal will be in a controlled environment, so you can control elements that will normally have a negative impact on the production of the animals. So your temperature can be controlled. All of those factors combined actually make sure that your animal produces quite a bit more than out in the field. So that's the reason why we have animals in feedlots. It is a more controlled environment, and this certainly is the ideal product for feedlots. We'll show you more in a moment.
Thanks a lot, Joel.
So the Aquadam itself is made from the finest materials. The design is exceptional. When we go to the site and we erect it, it is exceptional craftsmanship is being utilized. And there's seamless integration. All the options that the client may want is seamlessly integrated. What is important though is that this product doesn't shrink, it doesn't swell, it doesn't split at the seams, it doesn't warp. There's no rust or rot issues that you have to deal with, and the steel beams is not prone to corrosion. That is something that you always have an issue with when you deal with steel structures. In this instance, it is covered, you don't have that issue. The question people always ask is the sizes that's available. And let's just jump into that right away. So the Aquadam starts small, it starts at 6 meters width, it goes large, it goes even larger, and then it goes huge, all the way up to 30 meters span. Now, really, a roof of 30 meters, can you imagine the cost of that? Especially if you have a roof where there's nothing underneath that encumber your movement. That is something that we have to look at, because this is going directly up against your huge steel structures. If you look at the slide up at the moment, you will see underneath there's a number of vehicles. There's a bakkie, there's a little microbus, there's a tractor. You can't see them. They look small. And the reason is that the amount of space that's being covered is just amazing. The Aquadam comes in 2 standard lengths. It's a 6 meter and a 12 meter length. The reason for that is that it's easily mounted on top of your marine
Structure.
No, the structures. What do you call those structures? Now, I missed that. Anyway, I'll get to that in a moment.
Containers.
A container. Thank you,
That's
Willie.
a container.
A
Yeah,
marine
sure.
container. There you go. So we'll look at that in a moment. That's not the only way that you can actually put this up. There's wooden pillars that you can use. You can put it up on top of concrete walls. But if we look at the specifications, one of the most important ones is the wind that it can withstand. The dome structure can withstand 249 kilometers per hour winds. Now, Willie, that is quite a bit of wind. I mean, how fast have you gone with your car? Have you gone 250 km per hour yet?
No, that is not a regular speed that I do drive, or neither would I like to drive.
No, I'm quite scared of that speed. I'm scared that I'll be blown right off. This thing is not scared of the wind. It just takes it, it swallows it up, no problem. 249 km an hour. So if your animals were exposed to winds like that, no problem anymore. They're safe now. The actual cover is made of industry-leading 700 grams per square meter PVC, and we'll delve into that specific item now. It is a ripstop material. So it doesn't tear in the wind. It is UV stabilized, so it lasts long in the African sun. And the beams itself is hot dipped. It's galvanized, rolled structural steel. So that will last quite a long time. The dome itself actually has a guarantee of 10 years. Once the dome is up, it doesn't look like a circus tent. It doesn't flap in the wind. It is aesthetically pleasing. It is really a good looking structure. It is something that you would want to have on your premises. As we said before, you can mount it atop containers. It will then create shelter for your workers, for your equipment, for anything that you want to put in there that you would normally not be able to put anywhere else because of space constraints. The containers that we use, you can stack them. You can stack them up to 3 high, and that is very important, especially in mining applications where they have very tall equipment. So that can all go inside there, no problem at all. We have options available, multiple options. So you want to cover the sides, you want to cover the end walls, sometimes you want to have guttering, sometimes you want to have doors. You have to get in and out at some point, and all of those options is available, and we will discuss them in a moment.
Sure, I would also like to ask you on that one there. I believe that the Aquadam can also, you can make use as a feedlot, where your animals doesn't have to go out of the Aquadam at any time, so you can feed them inside there. So like you said, there's no strain or no panic or nothing on your animals.
That is very true. So what we do in that regard is we actually have a feeding trough on the one side, all along the length on the one side of the agridome. Then we have a pathway, and we have another agridome on the other side. So your pathway runs in the middle with your feeding troughs right alongside. So you can run with your tractor in the middle of the 2 agridomes, and your feed can be distributed into the troughs. Your animals never have to leave your agridome to actually go out in the field to get their food. So they have their food there. The water will be maybe in a water
Trout on the outside.
Water trout on the other side. That is what you have. So your animals stay safe. They are not. There's nothing that will get to them because it's in a controlled environment.
And I also believe that you can put gutters on the outside of the dome.
Definitely.
For the water trout, so that can also save you on water cost. Then you can catch rainwater, and it can from the dome go straight into the trouts, and you can have more water for your animals. Use less water from your farm.
That's definitely so. We are very strong on rainwater harvesting at Aquadam, so we have a number of solutions for that could also be integrated with the agridome for that specific solution. So that's a very good point. Thank you, Willie.
Please tell us more.
Let's look at the actual dome cover, the material that's being used. So we use a PVC material. It is not the same as polyethylene. Now, polyethylene is normally the material that they would use for vegetable tunnels. The test that's been done between PVC and polyethylene is that PVC is actually more than twice the strength of polyethylene. It also has more than twice the elasticity, meaning it will come back to its original shape. Polyethylene has got a tendency to stretch, and it stretches 7 times more than PVC. Now, once the material stretches, it doesn't come back to its original shape and size. So you start to have sagging and pooling with a polyethylene material. You do not have that with the PVC cover. So that's a very big benefit. It will last forever. There's multiple lengths that you can choose from. There is small ones, there's tall ones, you can put them on high structures. All of this without being encumbered by anything in the middle. So you have a very nice product that is unencumbered, which just makes economic sense. Here's a very good example of a few of these container domes that is sitting together. The specific one at Anglo American is actually 36 meters long. You'll see if you count the containers on the side, there's 2 short containers of 6 meters, there's 2 long containers of 12 meters, so that will give you 36 meters. At the width, I worked it out at 18 meters. So you have something like 432 square meters, if I'm not mistaken, per agridome. These guys have got a lot of things to store, and they have no problem storing that under there. But let's look at a few others. If you want to make a present, here's your product. That is just a side benefit. The main benefit is how easy it is stackable on this container. So you have the 2-stack container with a very big space inside. Let's look at that on the other side. Let's flip it around. There you go. It's the same containers on the other side, same domes. Look at that storage space. What is interesting is if you look to the left of the screen, you look at the single stack where it's only placed on top of one container. Look at the space. That gives you an idea how big it really is. Because on the right, it doesn't look so big, but it is huge. It's humongous. Features. There's a number of very good features that we have to look at. As I mentioned a number of times, there's maximum usable space, nothing stopping you, pillars or pole posts or anything like that. If the wind blows, if this thing stretches a little bit, it will maintain its shape, it will get back to the original shape, so it will always look good. An important point is that the PVC is not covered with any chemicals, which means that it's safe for humans, it's safe for your animals. You don't have any problems with that. As we mentioned, the ripstop is very, very strong. Inside this Aquadam, it's a very controlled climate. If you guys have been inside a big tent, and I'm talking about a really big tent, not the normal small camping tent, and it starts raining. Billy, have you ever, the sound that it gets on that, the rain pelting down on that tent is actually a very calming effect. Have you had that experience?
Yes, I have, many times.
Now, that is the same type of feeling that you get inside of the Aquadam. It is, it is actually a soothing noise that you get. And it also dampens harsh noises like thunder and that kind of thing outside. So that is something that is any farmer's dream, because the stress of your animals just goes away. It self-cleans with rain, so you don't have to wash it, you don't have to paint this. So whenever you have to paint a structure, it becomes very expensive. So the steel structure, 4 years, 5 years down the line, you have to repaint it. Not the situation with this product.
As well, Charles, I would also like to ask you then, I believe then with this PVC material, like you will have with a steel structure, with a steel roof, with IBR roof sheeting, you might incur some rust over a couple of years. With this PVC material over the Aquadam, will you have rust as well?
You won't have rust, Willie. The reason is your PVC actually cover the metal. So the metal is also not exposed to the animal, to the weather, like it would be in a normal roof. So you have an element, the structural element, that is also protected from the elements.
Thanks. That is actually very good news.
So if you compare the price per square meter of a similarly sized steel structure to this, let's talk about the 30-meter span. You have a 30-meter span, you have a 12-meter container. You won't be able to compare the price. It's the bigger the span goes, the more cost-effective it becomes. So that's a really big selling point for us. The construction is very fast. It's very easy to actually put it up. Our teams are very effective and very good at doing that, and it will be a charm to see them do that at your site. What is impressive about this is it can, although it is seen as a temporary structure, we have a 10-year guarantee. So this is definitely not a temporary structure. It's a permanent structure that is, and I'll come back to that when we get to the benefits, because that's got a very interesting benefit to that.
Can't wait to see it.
It's SABS approved manufacturing standards, which is peace of mind for you. 10-year warranty, as we said before, again, peace of mind. We know what we are giving to you. This product will last you a long time. And this has been rated as best of storage solutions in the industry. So we're really proud about this product. But let's jump into those benefits that I was talking about. The unencumbered space means you can move around. You won't have anything snagging on metal things that stick out. So you won't bump your vehicles if you move around in there. It maintains its shape, so it doesn't look bad. If you look at some of these tunnels that you sometimes go past after a big storm, the thing is torn to pieces. It just looks bad. In the first instance, this will not be torn to pieces because of the ripstop material, and secondly, it won't start sagging because of the material that doesn't stretch. So it just looks good for a long time. There's no hiding places for pests, and therefore there's also no pollutants that builds up. We mentioned the controlled climate. Now the reason why I put this in the benefits as well is you don't have to have a big HVAC system to maintain your temperature inside the dome, because it's really a self-controlled climate inside of that. The acoustics, as I said before, is exceptional. It's a very nice calming environment. So you can go in there. if you really have a bit of stress, go in there. Believe you me, it is a good environment to be in. We have a dome at the back of the factory here, and it's interesting just to go in there and to feel that you somehow get shut off from all the noise of the world outside of you. Although you are shut off from all the noises, there's also abundant sunlight that ingress because it's translucent. So a big saving here is that your lights, you don't have to have all these lights along the interior of the dome. So you save on energy costs as well. Good ventilation, it always smells fresh inside of that. The cost is a lot lower. Now that to me is always a big benefit if you look at cost. Now, as I mentioned, if you put up a structure that is deemed a temporary structure, you do not have to have a building permit. Isn't that right?
That is very interesting, and you are correct, Joel. Yes, you don't.
Now, to actually get a building permit for a structure this big, it could take you ages. It can sometimes take 18 months. All you want to do is have cover for your animals. You don't have that problem. It's strong, it will last you longer than 10 years. The warranty is 10 years, it will outlast that warranty by far.
Sure, I would just like to stop you there again on your previous slide, if you please. You said it's a controlled environment and climate inside there. I believe you can just tell our viewers a bit more about the temperature change in winter. It's a little bit warmer underneath, and in summer it's a little bit cooler for your animals. So, like you said, it is a much more controlled environment that you don't need a massive HVAC system there.
It's a very interesting point. So what happens in summertime, you have a shady environment, it's nice and shady underneath, and in the winter, it's like a big blanket. So it keeps the air that's inside there, it keeps it at an ambient temperature, especially if you have half walls or full walls covering the ends of the dome in winter. It really just keeps the temperature at a stable level, which saves you a lot of money at the end.
So you will have a temperature up and down versus summer and winter between 2 to 4 degrees, warm in winter and cooler in summer?
It will definitely make a big difference. I haven't tested the actual temperature differences of 2 to 5 degrees, but it certainly is something that can be felt. If you go in there, you just feel it's a more comfortable environment to be in.
Thanks for sharing, Joel.
Let's look at the options. We've already looked at the width and the length options. So I said that it can go all the way from 6 meters to 30 meters, and then the two length options was 6 meters and 12 meters to fit on top of the containers. So that width and length, you can always stack these after each other. So you can have a dome that is really 36 meters or 60 meters if you want. All you do is you just place them in tandem, one after the other. So you can really have a very, very long structure. We're now going to look at some of the mounting options, how you actually place them on the ground. We will then look at the sidewall options, what's available there, and also the end wall options. The end wall options is what you have to cover the span of the dome. First of all, we normally mount it on gum poles. That's the easiest, the quickest way to do it. Some of our clients would prefer steel pillars. That's fine. We do the same thing that we do with gum poles. And we have had clients that would like concrete pillars. Not a problem at all. Any of those can be accommodated. You sometimes need something to protect your animals a bit more, and therefore a concrete wall or a bunker wall is something that we would suggest. So the anchoring points on there, no problem. So you have something that protects your animals really well. As mentioned before, shipping containers. What I do want to still mention is your shipping container could actually be mounted on the inside as on the picture, but you can also move it to the outside. So your space on the inside is a lot bigger, and there's a picture later on that I will show you how that is done. Combinations of the mounting options, that's always something that's interesting. So in this slide you have a combination of your shipping container, and then you have your gum poles on the other side, and on the next one here you have a combination of your shipping container and your bunker wall on the other side, and at some point you might want something on the ground, nothing that lifts it up, and it depends what it is that you want to store. Feed, for instance, the guys oftentimes don't want to store it in an elevated agridome. They want to put it right on the ground, and this is ideal for that. There you go. If we look at the end wall options, there's the half wall, so you cover just the top part of the dome. But if you want to cover the bottom half, we have no problem. We'll provide you with a full wall. If you have a full wall, of course, you need to get in and out, don't you? So, doors. Tell us what kind of door you want. We'll give you that door. As mentioned before, the sides. It's always good to have the sides covered because it will stop the wind. So we use the same material to cover the side as what we would have used to cover the top. We have had clients who want to have not a full side, but only half the side, and that's typically if they have feed stocks for sheep, that's smaller animals. We've also had clients who want to utilize this for marketplaces. So it's a human marketplace, and therefore they wanted the dome to really look nice. So we have roller blinds that we can put up on the side. So between those poles, the gun poles, you can have the roller blinds go up and down individually. So very, very nice system. It looks very good. And we have two options there. The one that is the very nice looking one, and then we have one that is a practical one with the same functionality, which is just you roll it up and you hook it up on the top. It doesn't have the pulleys that the one that we would use for a human marketplace. There you go, folks. All the options together. There's 12 of them. The one option that I see that I missed here is actually the one with the feeding troughs that we discussed. Let's look at a few of the uses, some of the applications that it's been used for before. If you look at this picture behind us, you will actually see, I don't know if you can see this picture, but what you'll see here is the dome is on the ground. It goes all the way to the ground, so there's no pillars or posts. It goes all the way around to the other side. And what do you have on the inside? You have an equestrian training ring. So if you look at that place, it means that people in Europe who normally can't train in winter now have a place with beautiful controlled environment where they can train throughout the year. So there you go. So animal feedlots, as I said, guys, it is really a good place to be inside of a agridome. This is what it feels like on the inside. If you look at that same...
Looks like we have some technical difficulties as well.
Technical difficulty, what would be the problem? Do you want us to stop and pause for a little bit?
Guys, can you just please bear with us just for 1 second, Charles? Just please go back for me 2 slides so that we can just have a look.
Okay, we're going to go back 2 slides. Do we go back all the way to this section?
Let's go one back more.
1 section more.
I think, yeah, I don't know what the problem is, but it seems like we are experiencing some pauses here in Charles' presentation. We will allow Charles to please carry on. Should we experience any more troubles, we will just cut the presentation short and we will just go over to the next section. Charles, would you please carry on to see if we can maybe get this one right?
Yes, so guys, what we said is that at the moment we have 12 different options for you with the mounts. There's another one that we missed that's not on here, and that is actually the feeding troughs. So there is, in fact, 13 different options on the mounts that you can utilize. So it makes it a very versatile product on any farm or on any mine or on any place where you need to store big items. The next section is the uses and the applications. Now, behind us, as I said before...
Yes, you have explained to us, yes.
Do I need to re-explain? I will.
Yes, please do, Sean.
Because guys, look at what you see behind me. Behind me, you see an agridome that's quite high, but notice it goes all the way to the ground. There's no pillars and posts. On the inside, you have quite a big, nice equestrian arena. And what you see there is your animals, your people doing training. It's an equestrian ring inside, so these guys are training right through the year. No problem with weather, no problem with snow, no problem with cold. They just carry on as if it's another day.
So there we go. It seems like the glitch is out. So please continue. We will enjoy it further. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. We do seem to have a tad of a delay, but we will work with that so that you all stay with us. So over here, this is what it feels like on the inside of the dome. So as I mentioned before, you really have this calm ambience inside of this dome. So you can see the animals in there. They're just moseying around. No problem, no stress. You'll see on the next slide, it's been raining outside. It's been raining hard. Does the animals look like they're stressed? No, they don't. They're inside of the dome. They're happy, just moseying around. You have your smaller animals. There's your sheep feedlot. You can see the farmer there right at the end. They're just looking out over the field. No problem, no stress. Everything is under control inside of the agridome.
It looks like he will not have any problems in counting sheep to sleep at night. It looks like he's got enough sheep there to count.
Definitely. If that farmer was in South Africa, that would have been on the stoep with a cup of coffee in hand, don't you think?
I honestly do think so, yes.
There you go. So as I told you, I touched on this, but you don't want your feed that's at the feedlot to be on the ground. You don't want it to rot. So the agridome can also be used to store that feed.
So Sean, if I also just might cut in there as well, I know there's a lot of farmers that just uses a normal PVC cover to cover their grain or their bales after the season. And then after that they just take it up and they put it away in the barn, but they still have all their tractors and all their machinery out in the field, where this one can be versatile. You can use it for your grain or whatever you harvest, and thereafter you can put your machinery underneath.
Definitely. So you can do all your servicing underneath there. You can. I mean, there's some equipment that's very expensive that you only use a portion of the year. So your harvesting machinery is normally like that. You use it for maybe a third of the year, maybe even less. The rest of the year it's parked. You need to have it serviced, but you need to have it well maintained, and you don't want to expose it to the elements. So this is the ideal scenario. You put it in there. It is a cheaper structure to put up than a barn, and it's perfect to store your big machinery.
Thanks for clarifying that, Sean.
Right, coming back to the equestrian sports. So you have your training ring that's under an agridome, but now you have your sport arena itself. So if you look at the inside of this dome, the amount of space available, that is ample space for them to do all their routines. There you have Mr. Horse Rider doing his training for his routine, and you can see there's a lot of space for him to do what he does best. One of the best scenarios for the agridome is warehousing. So this is definitely not only geared towards the agricultural market. This is geared towards commercial use. So on the sides you see two containers. The sides have actually been cut out. That is why it looks so funny. And then you have a big space in the middle. I'm going to show you this, but from the other side. There you go. There is the same warehouse from the outside, and you can see the containers now sitting outside. These guys have gone and cut it out. It's not always the case. A lot of our clients would rather have the container intact. Whichever way works for you, not a problem. One of the biggest issues of dockyards is metal structures that rust. Nothing will last. So if you look at those containers, they're all rusty. So ideal situation, put up an agridome. So your beams will not rust because it's protected. It lasts a lot longer. It's big space, exactly what you need at a dockyard. Work areas, workshops. If the guys come back to have their vehicles serviced, you need to have vehicles undercover. You need to get them out of the elements to service the vehicles. You need to get them out of the elements to pack the vehicles for the next trip out to site. So the ideal situation, you have your storage bays, you have your containers that's lockable, and if you have to pack your vehicles for the next trip, there you go, off you go. Border post it's also a very interesting use. I'm not looking at this from a border post perspective, but any access gate scenario, especially in a place where it's very, very hot, perfect solution. Heavy machinery, very, very big heavy machinery. So if you look at this one, 3 containers high, the dome itself goes nice and high. So there's really no limits as to what you can store under the AgriDome. If I had a plane, I would have stored it under the AgriDome, because just look at that, it just fits in there. There's a gyrocopter on the left, a plane on the right. What more could you want? So, but did you know, any roof is a cover. So walls without a roof is just a remuneration. So it's just a structure, it means nothing. But a roof always gives you cover. So we call it super strong, but you, Mr. Client, you will call it peace of mind. So with that, we present you with the AgriDome. And I believe we have you properly covered. Brought to you by Aquadam. You can contact us at 086 100 1010. You can visit our website. The website is www.aquadam.co.za. You can email us. The email address on there is my own, which is charles@aquadam.co.za. You can always use sales@aquadam.co.za as well. Follow us. You can follow us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Any one of those will work because we're active on all of them. And that brings us to the end. So, Billy, let's see if there's any questions. So this is where we'll be asking questions from you, the audience, and we'll be happy to answer those.
Yeah, Charles, I would like to thank you very much for this presentation. This was actually awesome. I learned quite a lot. I do thank you. Honestly, I would, from the bottom of my heart. I know this will be a game changer. So I believe from our side we can go over to some Q&A.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so there is a couple of questions that came through while we were busy doing the presentation. Craig Becker asked a question that if we're going to speak about the wind factors, and I believe Charles has mentioned and spoken about them.
Yeah, just to repeat, correct, the wind factor is we can actually go, it can handle winds of up to 249 k's per hour. So that's quite harsh winds. If you have a metal roof at 150 k's per hour, it will have blown off completely. This is not an issue. It can really handle far more than that. I see you also have a question as far as hail. All that will happen with this, it will bounce off. You won't have those harsh pelting noises that you would have with a steel roof. So hail is really not a problem. It can handle it.
Okay, so we have another question from Brian Mandy here. Please elaborate on the delivery and construction timeframes. Charles, can you please take that one for us?
Right. In terms of delivery, we need what happens normally with all of our products, whether it's the AgriDome or any of the tank products we have. We will start the manufacture of your product the moment we receive your deposit, and from there it will take us in the region of 4 to 6 weeks to manufacture your product in the factory. That is the average time it will take. We then transport your product to wherever you are, and we will then erect the product on site, construct it on site. Now, it's difficult to give you a direct answer because I don't know what the size of your AgriDome is at the moment. So the larger it is, the longer your construction period would be. And there's also your weather on site that needs to be taken into account. But we would endeavour to put it up in as short a time as possible. I hope that answers your question sufficiently, but within 2 months, we should, from the date of order, we should have it up and running.
Yeah, I would also like to ask if there's any other questions. If I may call out, Cam, thank you for joining us again. You were with our expo last week as well, and I have asked you to join this week. I hope it's the same, Cam. I can't see you. Your camera is off, but I believe you had some questions about aquaculture last year. Hi Cam,
I can.
if you want to have some more questions regarding the AgriDome as well, if it can work for your aquaculture, maybe you can just share your question and we can send the answer to our audience, if you please, Cam.
Okay, yeah, I'm wondering if, because I live quite far away from South Africa and that, is it a possibility to be able to ship it to wherever and direct it myself, or you guys really want to?
Want to take it?
Yeah, well, you can also join me.
Okay, Cam, yeah, so we can ship it to anywhere in the world, that's not a problem. It is best for us to do the installation, but a very good thing is we don't have to send up an entire crew. We can send you one supervisor to wherever you are in the world, and you can just give us local labor. We can give you all the designs for the gun poles, or however you would like to fix your structure. We can give you all the directions from here, from South Africa. We can also do a Zoom call or whatever the case might be for you to show us how your site looks. But we can definitely assist you anywhere in the world, shipping the material to you and just sending you one supervisor, and then we can do the installation for you.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. And yeah, it would work pretty well.
Cam, thanks for the question. Is there any other questions I would also like to ask?
I would just like to touch on the aquaculture as well. There was a question that I had before from somebody that's not currently on the webinar. But the question was, how do you protect your fish? You have a dam where you have your fish, and then of course you have your tunnels for your vegetables. And it's easy. You cover your fish with AgriDome. So you don't have the birds coming down and taking your fish, pilfering your fish, basically. So that's one way of doing it.
Michelle, I'd like to continue with the previous one.
Yes.
Yes,
Creek, you can go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know if you recall, Charles, quite a few months ago, I contacted you about a serious amount of things that we are in the aquaculture industry.
Yes, I remember, Creek.
Starting early next year, we have 3 large projects. Possibility of a big project on the islands in the East Coast.
Okay.
Specifically pertaining to one project, I'm interested in the Aquadam because it's got to be environment controlled fish farming operation. Now, listening to your presentation on the dome, one of the questions, it could be for the tilapia species, which is the high temperature species,
Okay.
that creates quite a humidity effect. If you farm environment controlled indoors like this, you would have a high temperature.
Yes.
The one specific project planning now in every country is a geothermal source, high sodium content. So I assume that we will have corrosion effect, and since the structures are in the inside of the dome, it will be exposed.
Okay.
This high evaporation. Is there any possibility of keeping this steel structure into a more robust type of technique that would extend your lifespan? One question. Second one is why I posed the question of rain and wind. Island, which is currently cyclone, falls within the Mozambique Channel Delta. You guys are aware that through there, so the wind factor was. Third and lastly, if it concerns neighboring countries, we started quite serious people excise duty hardware from distributor. We cannot understand it. We'd like to do trading in this country. Every time this government pays 50, 60, 70% before duties across the border, and you just raise your import duties by having an office or a pension company in those countries, looking after the tax and the VAT issues. I've been looking at your products for a long time. Most of this presentation seriously to somebody meeting in Cape Town regarding this lockdown. It's a long discussion. We are going to be need a serious also specifically on the reason why I want to sit down with you, we've done our research over a long time. Coming on with this, some of these projects. And in America, where we have projects, you have these steel ring tanks, tanks. We waited a long time to see those. Typically, you can think of the road, but also something that could last. We had fiberglass, we had polyurethane plastic, we had all sorts of funny little things, but I think steel tanks. So yes, just a general question is, how do you foresee moving these into your bordering countries? I know that you would like to take your teams. So this would just be general question.
Okay. So let me take the first two questions, and then I'm going to leave the last question to Willie, the one about the neighbouring countries. So the first question you had was about maybe additional protection on your beams. So you do know that we have the epoxy-coated rhino tank. So what comes to mind is that we can take the galvanized steel and maybe look at that as an option. I need to follow that up and make sure that we can in fact do that. But that is something that we'll come back to you on. But at the moment, the hot dip galvanizing is the covering that we use.
No, sure. So I would just
Yes.
like to cut in there, just to add on, Creek. We can, if you have a specific environment, like you said, it's quite
It's a sodium environment.
sodium environment. We can do a different application for you. We can do a epoxy application or a other type of coating application that you know that works. So we are open for suggestions. We just need to have your entire design and know what you want to use and what does work on site. Then we can assist you with any type of coating on your steel structure for your dome.
Yes.
That is good news, and I assume that you can also then take a double barrel shotgun approach by having galvanized structures and also polycoat them or epoxy coat.
Definitely, we can definitely do that for you, Creek, 100%, no problem.
Just please take note that in this application is what it does. It will also open up for a lot of marine aquaculture applications, technically meaning seawater applications. One of the things we're considering is an indoor fish farm on the west coast here, which is a land-based recirculation system, and the housing obviously have to withstand the elements and are serious to us. Okay, not the boring the other participants. I'd like to follow this up.
I think also just to add on that, we said about the installations in America and so on and so forth. We can also offer you, I don't want to go off the point from the AgriDome, but we can also offer you a epoxy coated tank as well, if you have such specific applications wherever. And then to touch on your other question regarding the branches in neighboring countries, currently we are not looking into that, but we are a registered exporter. So we can assist you with the exportation as well as the SADC documentation for you to pay lesser or no border taxes. What this is nice, the 7 SADC countries, we have the agreement when it comes to essential services like farming, that the rates and the taxes are actually cut to a very low rate at the border. So this is an agricultural product that you can take over with the SADC documentation certification that can make your border taxes less.
That does not apply to Namibia. They are very hard on the custom and excise. 60% done. I assume that if you export from South Africa, it would be back to this. Importing it into the Saudi country, plus
Our pleasure, Greek. Is there any other questions from anybody else?
I think Crick had one more question about the wind speed, was it not? Crick, just...
But you did explain that it's just
Yes.
the 245 is comforting. I just posed the question that if it's on one of these islands and you have a hurricane situation or cyclone, would exceed that. Just comforting to know that you have a high wind resistance on these things. And maybe the option would be in those cases to do some netting over your structure. Like with one caps, you put a skull net over your fence. Maybe the ice to have a system of netting over these
That's true, yes. I see Dirk Kruger on the chat box has also got very similar questions to what Crick has been asking. I'm just going to read it for everybody. It says, I've done offshore steel design work, and there are various paint systems that can be used above and below seawater. The most important issue is to keep the inside of the steel pipes dry and clean. Thank you for that, Dirk. That is really good to know. So maybe you can also make contact with us with regards to that, so that we can also speak to Crick about that.
Yeah, guys, is there any more questions from anybody's side? If there's any questions on Facebook as well, I've got my Facebook with me. If there's any questions, I can answer them immediately. We can address them. Everybody happy? I would just like to ask a question, and if all can just please, if you have a camera to share with us, if you have enjoyed this presentation and if you've learned a lot, please just give us a thumbs up.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate your thumbs ups. Thank you.
There, guys, and then I would just like to remind you, this is a weekly expo that we are having. We are live every week, Thursday at 3 p.m. We will be discussing a different product every week. Next week we will be discussing the home tank with Cindy. She will be the host of the home tank next week. And I would like to please ask you guys, like Charles asked us here, please go and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and join our YouTube channel as well. We are very active on those three platforms. We are sharing a lot of information on a weekly basis. Once you have liked us, we will send you invitations to our weekly expos. And if you would like to share anything with us during the week before the expo, you are more than welcome to ask us the questions, more than welcome to send us emails, or however you would like to get in touch with us. So on Facebook it is Aquadam Steel Tanks International.
Same with YouTube is also.
Same as YouTube, Aquadam Steel Tanks International. Give us a like there. And if there's any questions.
What?
Maybe one final question. The previous presentations that you had, you might have missed. I assume they are recorded because I see on the top of my screen we're busy recording this one. And in assuming that the previous presentations are available on YouTube.
Yes, indeed. The moment we have a live presentation, it actually gets automatically recorded, so you can go back into that. But what we will be doing is, because it's a long presentation at the end of the day, we will be cutting them into shorter chunks so that it becomes more digestible as well. So we'll leave the original long one there, but we'll take portions out of it and place that onto YouTube and Facebook as well for you.
That's being lazy. It would be nice if you could just post all these links in one page on your Facebook channel, you know.
No, certainly we will look into that for you. All these links are definitely on the YouTube channel. I don't know if you follow us on YouTube, but please go and visit our page there. You should be able to pick them there because we have them all in different playlists to make it searchable.
Thanks a lot, guys. If there's anything else.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you having joined me this afternoon. I think it was a good session. I think there's a lot that we could learn from each other, and I think we are still going to learn a lot from each other going forward. And it's interesting to see how the different products that we offer actually become part of a bigger solution. So you have multiple approaches to the one solution. And that is a strong point of this company. We are flexible, we are adaptable, and we work with our clients. We want our clients to be the best they can with their project. So our job is to assist you to be the best that you can possibly be. And with that, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next week. Willie, we'll see you again.
Same time, same place, next week, 3 p.m. Aqualive Streaming Expo. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Keep well, keep safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, goodbye.
Goodbye.